Authorities launched an investigation, and to the disbelief of many, Elder Jonathan found himself accused of the crime. The evidence against him was circumstantial, a series of unfortunate coincidences that painted him as the perpetrator. Despite his protests of innocence and the outcry from those who knew him, the authorities were resolute. In the quiet village of Ndukwi, Elder Jonathan was known as a gentle and devoted religious man. His kindness extended to everyone he met, always lending a helping hand and a listening ear. As a pillar of the community, he was respected and loved by all who knew him. Yet, fate dealt him a cruel hand that would test his faith and resilience in ways unimaginable. Elder Jonathan's activities within the religious circle of Ndukwi were nothing short of inspiring. As one of the elders of the village church, he always exemplifies with humility and deep faith. Every Sunday, his activities in the church drew villagers from near and far, eager to hear and see his words of wisdom and encouragement. His emphasis was not just about religious doctrine but also about living a life of integrity, compassion, and service. He often emphasized the importance of love and unity, urging the congregation of the church to support one another and to extend their kindness beyond the church walls. One of Elder Jonathan's significant impacts in the religious community was the establishment of a robust charity program. He organized regular food drives, clothing donations, and financial assistance for the needy. His initiatives ensured that no one in church went hungry or lacked basic necessities. He also set up a scholarship fund for children from low-income families, giving them the opportunity to pursue education and break the cycle of poverty. Many young adults in the village owed their education and subsequent successes to Elder Jonathan's tireless efforts. In addition to his charitable work, Elder Jonathan was a counselor and mediator. He provided guidance to those facing personal challenges, helping them navigate through life's difficulties with grace and dignity. His calm demeanor and wise counsel were sought after in times of conflict, and he played a crucial role in resolving disputes within the community. His ability to listen without judgment and offer thoughtful advice earned him the trust and respect of everyone in Ndukwi. Elder Jonathan's influence extended beyond the religious circle into the broader community. He spearheaded numerous community development projects, including the construction of a new health clinic, improvements to the village's water supply, and the establishment of a vocational training center. These projects not only improved the quality of life in Ndukwi but also provided employment opportunities and skills training for the villagers. His leadership and vision for a better future inspired many to volunteer and contribute to the community's growth and prosperity. One of the most profound impacts of Elder Jonathan's work was the sense of unity and solidarity he fostered among the villagers. Under his guidance, the people of Ndukwi learned to set aside their differences and work together for the common good. He organized community events, such as festivals and sports tournaments, which brought people together and strengthened their bonds. His efforts created a strong sense of community spirit, where everyone felt valued and supported. Despite his many contributions, Elder Jonathan's faith and resilience were put to the ultimate test when he was wrongfully accused of a crime he did not commit. The village was in shock, and many could not believe that such a kind and selfless man could be capable of wrongdoing. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of red and orange, the tranquility of Ndukwi was shattered. A heinous crime had been committed, the village's sacred shrine was desecrated, and valuable relics were stolen. The shock rippled through the community like a stone cast into still waters. Whispers and rumors swirled, and fear took root in the hearts of the villagers. Authorities launched an investigation, and to the disbelief of many, Elder Jonathan found himself accused of the crime. The evidence against him was circumstantial, a series of unfortunate coincidences that painted him as the perpetrator. Despite his protests of innocence and the outcry from those who knew him, the authorities were resolute. The true story behind Elder Jonathan's wrongful accusation began to unravel as details of the crime and the investigation came to light. The desecration of the sacred shrine was orchestrated by a group of robbers who had been plaguing neighboring villages for months. These robbers, desperate to avoid capture, concocted a devious plan to frame someone of high standing in the community, hoping to divert attention from themselves and create chaos. Elder Jonathan, known for his unwavering dedication to the community and his significant influence within both religious and secular circles, was an ideal target for their scheme. Prior to the incident day, Elder Jonathan was sent for, as a result of the arrangement made by the perpetrators, to come and counsel some boys in the town who were fighting themselves. Though they were not familiar with Elder Jonathan notwithstanding, because of his good gesture, he stayed with them counseling them till late in the evening. During this period, part of his voice was recorded and kept by the perpetrators. The robbers planted false evidence at the scene of the crime, including items that could be traced back to Elder Jonathan. They also bribed a few unscrupulous individuals to testify against him, claiming they had seen him near the shrine on the night of the theft. The village of Ndukwi was thrown into turmoil. Many of Elder Jonathan's supporters were devastated, unable to comprehend how such a virtuous man could be involved in such a heinous act. Others, swayed by the seemingly irrefutable evidence, began to doubt his innocence. The once harmonious community became divided, with tensions rising as the trial progressed. During the trial, Elder Jonathan's defense was hampered by the lack of concrete evidence to exonerate him and the overwhelming pressure from the public outcry for justice. Despite the best efforts of his legal counsel, the court was convinced of his guilt. Elder Jonathan was sentenced to 11 years in prison, a verdict that sent shockwaves through Ndukwi. Elder Jonathan languished in prison, the village grappling with the fallout of his conviction. The community projects he had initiated began to falter without his guidance, and the sense of unity he had fostered started to erode. However, a few steadfast supporters refused to believe the charges against him and embarked on a mission to uncover the truth. These loyalists, driven by their unwavering faith in Elder Jonathan's innocence, began to re-examine the evidence and testimonies presented at the trial. They discovered discrepancies in the statements of the witnesses and inconsistencies in the evidence that had been used to convict him. They also uncovered the fact that the robbers had a history of framing innocent people to cover their tracks. Meanwhile, Elder Jonathan's first days in prison were filled with a mix of fear, confusion, and despair. The clanging of cell doors, the harsh glares from fellow inmates, and the seemingly endless monotony of prison life weighed heavily on him. Yet, his faith remained unshaken. He spent his days in quiet prayer, finding comfort in the sacred texts he had committed to memory. His calm demeanor and the serene aura he carried soon began to attract the attention of those around him. In the harsh, cold confines of the prison walls, Elder Jonathan's faith was his only solace. Each day was a struggle, but he held steadfast to his belief in truth and justice. His fellow inmates and even the prison guards were touched by his unwavering spirit. He became a beacon of hope, offering prayers and counsel, fostering a sense of peace and solidarity even in the bleakest of places. The inmates, many of whom had been hardened by years of incarceration, were initially skeptical of Elder Jonathan. However, they couldn't ignore the sense of peace he exuded. Gradually, they began to approach him, seeking solace in his presence and words. Elder Jonathan listened to their stories without judgment, offering prayers and counsel. His genuine compassion and unwavering faith created an environment of trust and respect within the prison walls. Elder Jonathan's impact extended beyond his fellow inmates. The prison guards, who were accustomed to dealing with unruly and defiant prisoners, found themselves drawn to his kindness and humility. He treated them with the same respect and dignity he showed everyone else, often inquiring about their well-being and offering words of encouragement. Over time, the guards began to see Elder Jonathan not just as an inmate, but as a source of wisdom and inspiration. One of the most significant contributions Elder Jonathan made during his imprisonment was the establishment of a prayer and support group. Recognizing the deep sense of despair and hopelessness among his fellow inmates, he organized regular gatherings where they could come together to pray, share their struggles, and support one another. These meetings became a sanctuary for many, providing a rare sense of community and belonging in the otherwise harsh environment. Through these gatherings, Elder Jonathan encouraged the inmates to reflect on their lives, seek forgiveness, and strive for personal transformation. He shared stories from the scriptures, relating them to the inmates' experiences and emphasizing themes of redemption, forgiveness, and the enduring power of faith. His words resonated deeply with many, inspiring them to make positive changes in their lives. Elder Jonathan's influence also led to tangible improvements within the prison. He advocated for better living conditions, fair treatment, and access to educational and vocational programs for the inmates. His respectful and persistent approach eventually gained the attention of the prison administration, leading to small but meaningful changes. Inmates were given more opportunities to learn new skills, which not only occupied their time productively but also prepared them for life after release. Despite his own suffering, Elder Jonathan never lost sight of the needs of others. He often gave away his own meager possessions to those in greater need and spent countless hours comforting those who were struggling the most. His selflessness and dedication to the well-being of others earned him the admiration and respect of both inmates and guards alike. Elder Jonathan's time in prison also became a period of deep personal growth and reflection. Isolated from the world he knew, he had ample time to meditate on his faith, his life's work, and the trials he was enduring. This period of introspection strengthened his resolve and deepened his understanding of the principles he had always lived by. He emerged from each day more resilient and more committed to his mission of spreading love, compassion, and justice. The news of Elder Jonathan's positive influence within the prison eventually reached the outside world. His supporters, who had never wavered in their belief in his innocence, were heartened by stories of his good works even in such dire circumstances. This renewed their determination to fight for his release, knowing that his spirit remained unbroken. Years passed, and the village of Ndukwi seemed to move on, but Elder Jonathan's absence left a void that could not be filled. The community projects he had initiated began to wither without his guidance, and the once vibrant spirit of unity started to fade. The villagers carried on with their lives, but the shadow of Elder Jonathan's wrongful conviction loomed over them, a constant reminder of the injustice that had befallen their beloved leader. Meanwhile, for the love of the supporters for Elder Jonathan, they sought a more qualified prosecutor to help them carry out more findings about the few facts they had already gotten. They were connected with a young, determined journalist named Amanda, in a bustling city far from Ndukwi, who heard whispers of Elder Jonathan's story. Inspired by the tales of his kindness and unwavering faith, Amanda felt a deep sense of duty to uncover the truth. She knew this was more than just a story, it was a mission to restore the honor of a man who had given so much to his community. Amanda's journey began with a visit to Ndukwi. She spent weeks in the village, immersing herself in the stories and memories of the villagers. She spoke with those who had known Elder Jonathan well, his friends, his family, and those who had benefited from his charity. Each person she interviewed painted a picture of a man whose life was dedicated to serving others, a man whose integrity was beyond reproach. Her investigation led her to old court records and trial transcripts, where she painstakingly sifted through every detail. Amanda discovered numerous inconsistencies and gaps in the prosecution's case. Witnesses who had testified against Elder Jonathan had histories of dubious credibility, and several pieces of evidence seemed either misinterpreted or outright fabricated. Her growing file of notes and evidence began to reveal a story of a man framed by a conspiracy rather than a criminal mastermind. One of the pivotal moments in Amanda's investigation came when she interviewed a former inmate who had been in prison with Elder Jonathan. The inmate, a man named Chaik, had been deeply affected by Jonathan's presence and had always believed in his innocence. He spoke of how Jonathan had brought hope and faith to the darkest corners of the prison, and how his prayers and counsel had transformed many lives. Chike also revealed that one of the key witnesses against Elder Jonathan had confided in him, admitting they had been coerced into giving false testimony. This confession, though not formally documented, gave Amanda a crucial lead. She tracked down this witness, who, after much persuasion, agreed to speak on record, corroborating Chike's account and admitting to the false testimony. With this new evidence, Amanda began to build a compelling case for Elder Jonathan's innocence. She reached out to legal experts, who reviewed her findings and agreed that there were substantial grounds for a retrial. Amanda's relentless pursuit of justice gained the attention of a prominent human rights lawyer who took up Elder Jonathan's case pro bono. As the momentum for Elder Jonathan's retrial grew, so did the support from the village of Ndukwi. The villagers, who had always believed in Jonathan's innocence, rallied behind Amanda's efforts. They organized community meetings, signed petitions, and raised funds to support the legal battle. The village, once divided by the tragedy of Jonathan's conviction, found a renewed sense of purpose and unity in their fight for justice. The retrial itself was a dramatic and emotional affair. Amanda's investigative work, combined with the testimonies of those who had been silenced or ignored during the original trial, painted a starkly different picture from the one that had led to Elder Jonathan's conviction. The court heard from witnesses who recanted their previous statements and from new witnesses who testified to the robbers' true guilt and their scheme to frame Elder Jonathan. Elder Jonathan, frail but resolute, took the stand to tell his story. His dignity and grace in the face of such adversity moved many in the courtroom to tears. He spoke not of bitterness or revenge but of forgiveness and hope, reaffirming the values he had lived by all his life. The judge, after considering all the new evidence, declared Elder Jonathan innocent of all charges. The courtroom erupted in applause and tears of joy. News of his exoneration spread quickly, and the village of Ndukwi prepared for his triumphant return. In the meantime, while Elder Jonathan was languishing in prison, his family back in Ndukwi went through tremendous hardships. The family was divided, some believed the accusations while others did not. His immediate family members, his wife and children, suffered from backbiting, isolation, and lack of support. In the process, he lost his youngest child, who fell ill during his absence and was not adequately cared for. Despite this, his wife stood firm, defending her husband's innocence throughout the ordeal. The division within the family was particularly painful. Relatives who had once been close turned their backs on Jonathan's wife, Nneka, and their children. Those who believed in his guilt distanced themselves, unwilling to associate with a family they now saw as tainted by scandal. The isolation was profound, and Nneka found herself shouldering the burden of her family's survival alone. She struggled to make ends meet, working tirelessly to provide for her remaining children while also fighting to clear her husband's name. Nneka's unwavering faith in Jonathan's innocence became her guiding light. She took on various jobs, from farming to trading in the local market, to ensure her children were fed and educated. Despite the whispers and judgment from some villagers, she maintained her dignity and stood as a pillar of strength for her family. Her resilience and determination inspired her children to stay hopeful, even in the darkest times. The loss of their youngest child, Kelechi, was a devastating blow. Kelechi had been a bright, cheerful child, whose illness struck fear and sorrow into the hearts of the family. Without Jonathan's presence and the necessary support from their extended family, Kelechi's condition worsened. The village healer did what she could, but it was not enough. Kelechi's death left a void in their hearts and deepened their sorrow. Despite these hardships, Nneka's faith never wavered. She visited Jonathan in prison whenever she could, bringing him news from home and reassuring him of her steadfast belief in his innocence. These visits were a source of comfort for both of them, a reminder of their unbreakable bond and shared strength. Jonathan drew solace from Necha's unwavering support, which bolstered his spirit and kept his hope alive. Necha also became an advocate for Jonathan's release, tirelessly working alongside Amanda to gather evidence and support for his case. She spoke to anyone who would listen, recounting Jonathan's acts of kindness and service to the community. Her efforts were instrumental in rallying the villagers who believed in Jonathan's innocence, ultimately contributing to the movement that led to his exoneration. The day Elder Jonathan was released was bittersweet for Necha. While she rejoiced in her husband's return and the clearing of his name, the absence of Kelechi was a poignant reminder of the cost of their ordeal. Jonathan, too, was deeply affected by the loss of his child. In his first moments back home, he visited Kelechi's grave, offering prayers and vowing to honor his memory by continuing his life's work with even greater determination. Elder Jonathan's return brought healing to the family. The community's renewed respect and support helped mend the fractures that had formed during his imprisonment. Together, Jonathan and Necha rebuilt their lives, drawing strength from each other and their surviving children. They resumed their roles as leaders in the community, working to ensure that no other family would have to endure what they had suffered. 7 years after the unjust imprisonment, Elder Jonathan was finally exonerated. The news spread like wildfire, and the village of Ndukwi erupted in joy. As the village prepared for Elder Jonathan's return, the air was thick with anticipation. The villagers decorated the streets with vibrant colors, and the sounds of drums and flutes echoed through the air. Banners with messages of welcome and gratitude adorned every corner, and children practiced songs and dances to perform in his honor. The day of his release was a momentous occasion. The village square was filled to capacity, with people standing shoulder to shoulder, eagerly awaiting the arrival of the man who had been their guiding light. The elders of the village, dressed in their finest regalia, stood at the forefront, ready to offer their blessings and support. When Elder Jonathan finally appeared, escorted by Amanda and the legal team that had fought tirelessly for his freedom, a wave of emotion swept through the crowd. The villagers cheered, clapped, and sang, their voices rising in a harmonious chorus that spoke of love, resilience, and unity. Elder Jonathan, though visibly aged by the years of hardship, walked with a grace and dignity that moved everyone to tears. As he approached the village square, Elder Jonathan was met with warm embraces and heartfelt words of welcome. The elders anointed him with sacred oils, a symbol of his restored honor and the community's enduring respect. Children presented him with flowers and handmade gifts, while the women of the village performed traditional dances, their movements telling the story of his journey and their unwavering faith in his innocence. The ceremony concluded with a heartfelt speech from Elder Jonathan, where he reiterated his messages of forgiveness, unity, and the enduring power of faith. He expressed his deep gratitude for the unwavering support of his community and promised to continue serving them with all his heart. In a voice filled with emotion, he addressed the crowd. He thanked them for their unwavering support and shared his gratitude for the love and prayers that had sustained him through the darkest days. He spoke of forgiveness and reconciliation, urging the villagers to let go of bitterness and to continue building a community founded on compassion and justice. Elder Jonathan's words resonated deeply with everyone present. The villagers, who had been divided by the turmoil of his wrongful conviction, found a renewed sense of unity in purpose. The celebration continued late into the night, with feasting, dancing, and storytelling. Elders recounted tales of Jonathan's kindness and wisdom, ensuring that the younger generation understood the importance of his legacy. As a testament to his suffering and resilience, the village and the local government arranged some rewards for Elder Jonathan bountifully. Elder Jonathan was granted a substantial sum of money, a new home, and a place of honor in the village council. More importantly, he was enveloped in the love and respect of a community that had never forgotten him. The new home was built with contributions from the villagers, each brick and beam a symbol of their gratitude and respect for the man who had given so much to them. In the weeks that followed, Elder Jonathan resumed his role as a leader and mentor in Ndukwi. His first act was to revive the community projects that had suffered during his absence. He organized meetings to assess the needs of the village and to mobilize resources for the initiatives he had once championed. His presence brought a renewed sense of hope and determination, and the villagers eagerly joined him in rebuilding their community. Elder Jonathan also took the time to personally thank Amanda and the legal team for their dedication and perseverance. He invited Amanda to share her experiences with the villagers, inspiring many young people to pursue careers in journalism and law, driven by a desire to uphold justice and truth. The village of Ndukwi underwent a transformation in the years following Elder Jonathan's return. The health clinic he had envisioned was finally completed, providing much-needed medical care to the villagers. The vocational training center he had established thrived, offering skills development and job opportunities to the youth. The scholarship fund he had initiated grew, enabling more children to pursue their education and dreams. Elder Jonathan's influence extended beyond the boundaries of Ndukwi. His story of faith, resilience, and justice resonated with people far and wide. He was invited to speak at conferences, churches, and universities, where he shared his experiences and the lessons he had learned. His message of forgiveness, unity, and the power of community inspired countless individuals to stand up against injustice and to work towards creating a more compassionate world. Amanda's journey with Elder Jonathan also continued to evolve. She wrote a book about his life and the struggle for his exoneration, which became a bestseller and a source of inspiration for many. She remained close to the village of Ndukwi, visiting frequently and supporting the ongoing development projects. Her work as a journalist took on new dimensions, driven by a commitment to uncovering the truth and giving a voice to the voiceless. As the years passed, Elder Jonathan's legacy in Ndukwi grew stronger. The village thrived, a testament to the enduring power of love, faith, and community. Elder Jonathan's story became a symbol of hope, reminding everyone that even in the face of adversity, the human spirit can triumph. His life, marked by trials and triumphs, continued to inspire generations, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of all who knew him. His story became a powerful testament to the rewards of standing for the truth, even when the cost seemed unbearable. His faith and integrity shone as a beacon of hope and a reminder that justice, though sometimes delayed, would ultimately prevail. His life, a testament to resilience and unwavering belief, continued to inspire generations to come, proving that standing for the truth is indeed rewarding, even if the journey is fraught with trials. From this story, there are some important lessons to be learned. The power of faith and integrity. Elder Jonathan's unwavering faith and commitment to his principles, even in the face of adversity, highlight the importance of staying true to one's beliefs. His integrity became a source of inspiration for others, demonstrating that moral courage can lead to profound impacts on individuals and communities. The importance of community support. The solidarity and support of the villagers played a crucial role in sustaining Elder Jonathan through his ordeal. This underscores the value of community and the strength that comes from standing together in the face of injustice. The triumph of justice and truth. Elder Jonathan's eventual exoneration and the recognition he received serve as a powerful reminder that truth and justice, though sometimes delayed, will ultimately prevail. His story encourages others to persevere in their pursuit of justice, regardless of the obstacles they may encounter. Elder Jonathan's legacy lived on in Ndukwi, a shining example of the enduring power of truth, faith, and community. His story was passed down through generations, a beacon of hope and a call to uphold the values that he had so steadfastly embodied. Remember, your subscription, like and turning on the notification bell icon, will go a long way in helping us to doing more on this channel. We sincerely covet it from you all. Thanks. Until we come your way soonest. Stay cool.